Good afternoon, Floss Tube. It's Julie with Reflections Framing and Stitching. Today is Tuesday. It is the 9th of June, and I am back for Chart of the Day video number 46. Hello, how are you? I hope you had a good weekend. Mine was about a minute long. It was good. The minute was good, but it was pretty short. I was here at work on Sunday morning by 6:45, and I put in a good solid 6 hours of stretching cross stitch. I got 5 pieces done, but really, I'm counting the one as an extra 2. I think it should have been worth 3 pieces because the sucker was 19 by 24, so that's at least worth 3 in my book. So I got 8 done. That's how I'm looking at it. I got 8 done. And then I went home and I cleaned the house, and Dan was working on laundry, so it was not a very restful weekend, but made it through, and I hope yours was good. I hope you got lots of stitching done, or whatever it was you wanted to do. I hope you got it done. Spiders and snakes. Some people don't mind them. There's a lot that can take spiders and not snakes. A lot that prefer snakes over spiders. A lot that won't kill them. They release them back into the wild. I don't mind them outside as long as they leave me alone. But the inside ones, I'm sorry, they're going. They're done. They're out. Unless I don't see them. But if I see them, they're dead. That's just the way it is. So thank you for responding to that question. I appreciate it. Also, thank you for another week of support. I also appreciate that. I don't have anything really new and exciting to talk about. Reese has her first cold. Her baptism was on Sunday. We did not attend. It actually ended up not being able to be at the church because Abby found out Saturday night she was exposed again to COVID. So the priest was like, I can't let you in the church because all it would take would be for one person to find out I did and raise a stink. So he said, I think we'll just do it at your house. So they held the baptism at Abby and Travis's, and Dan and I attended via Skype. It went well. She wore the baptism gown that it's 60. Robin is what, 60? I'm 60. How old am I? I'm 60. Robin is 4 years older than I am. So it's 64 years old, the baptism gown that Reese wore. All of the kids, with the exception of Adam, including my brother, wore that baptism gown. And so we've passed it down from generation to generation. So it's a beautiful, beautiful gown, and it meant a lot to see Reese wearing it. So we wish we could have been there, but Reese and her cousin Tessa were both sick. Abby had been exposed. There were going to be upwards of 12 people there. Dan and I just felt that we didn't feel comfortable. So I know Abby was disappointed, but it is what it is. So that's about all I really know. Yeah. Don't have anything else interesting to talk about, so I will jump right into the chart of the day. It is afternoon. I didn't get it done this morning. I was here, but I hadn't picked a chart, and by the time I had everything pulled together, Lori I did hire someone to help me out here at the shop, and Lori was here already, and we just got to work. So she's gone for the day. We've got most of the stuff, critical stuff done. I have some other things, a couple of orders I need to place, and then we're good to go. So we're gonna just show you the chart now. I'm gonna quit rambling. Yeah. Threadwork Primitives hand tuck sampler. It's just a sweet, very elegant looking little sampler. On the back of the chart, because I was like hand tuck. When I was typing it into the computer, I kept typing T-U-C-K and not T-U-C-H. So I read the back of the chart. It says this design was inspired by the Pennsylvania German decorated hand tuck, or its English equivalent, hand towel. The model was stitched on 40 count light mocha with one strand of floss over 2 threads, and then she stained hers with walnut crystals before stitching to give it more of an antique look. She does provide a DMC. There's only 3 colors in it. I was a little surprised the one color is not red, because it looks kind of red in the picture, but it's a red brown. And it calls for a Gentle Art color that I don't think I've even heard of, Storm Clouds from Gentle Art. So I just pulled the DMC and then pulled an overdye to match that. So stitch count 117 by 148. Not a very large piece. I think she would stitch up rather quickly. And yeah, I kind of like it. So colors. These are the DMCs. It's 3011, 632, and then 500. And the overdyes are Oscar, Chris's Bonbon, and then I chose Okefenokee, partly because it matched the 500 and partly just because I like saying Okefenokee. So I wanted to say that on video. Okefenokee. So those are the 3. Chris's Bonbon is a kind of a reddish brown, but it looks more red on this chart. So there's the 3. So it's a pretty good color conversion, except for Chris's Bonbon is a little richer than the DMC, and I like it that way. Calls for 40 count light mocha. I don't have any, so I pulled 32 count light mocha so you could see that. Looks good on there. Probably the closest I would have in a 40 count would be the Vintage Country Mocha. That would give you the kind of the overdyed look. I kind of like the colors. This is a 32 count Cordy Special Blend, and I liked the colors on that. It's got more of a green cast to it. I thought that was pretty. If you prefer grays in your life, I have a little bit of 36 count Vintage Flagstone, and I think they look good on there. It does give it an entirely different look, but the colors still look good on there. And then for something just a little slightly different, I have Earth from Fiber on a Whim. It's a 32 count Belfast linen. It's kind of a brown with green in it, and I think if I were going to do it on this fabric, I'd probably trade Oscar in for either Lily Pad, which is just a little bit darker, or Gentle Arts Moss. This is Lily Pad, this is Moss. Just because I'm a little worried the other one wouldn't show up as well. This is really pretty fabric. Really pretty. So, that was fast. Look at that, I'm done with that already. Woo. Anyway, I hope you like the sampler. I thought it was really sweet. Just new in the shop, so I think I have 2 copies of it is all. I don't tend to buy a ton of copies because money being what it is, so I can always reorder if more people are interested. Question of the day today is regarding pets. Now, you have your cat and dog pet, but I was just wondering what other pets you may have had in the past or currently have that are not a cat and a dog. It can include fish. Dan includes fish in the pet category. I don't include fish in the pet category because you can't touch them. Well, you could fish them out of the tank, but they wouldn't survive very long if you did that. So, I'm talking more about pets that you interact with or animals that you interact with. Some people have a favorite cow. Abby loves cows and would have a pet cow if she could have one. But Travis is a farmer without animals, which is, I think, wrong on so many levels. I think if you're going to be a farmer, you need animals. Chickens, cows. That's just my theory. He doesn't agree with me. Growing up, we had lots of different types of animals. I used to have toads as a pet. I would bring them into the house. I think the last time I brought one into the house, I was maybe 4. And I put it in a Kleenex box next to my bed, and I put a Kleenex over the top of the opening in the box. You can imagine what happened. The next morning, that toad was not there. And Mom searched the house for that thing and could not find it. She later on told me that it was probably a year later. She was down in the basement, and there was this, she said, huge toad by the sump pump. So we think he somehow got down to the basement. She disposed of him outdoors. I mean, not really disposed. He was still alive. She released him back into the wild and never told me that she'd found him because she knew I would have wanted him. So toads, I used to, every time I could get a toad, I would keep the toad. Some tragedies were involved. Note to self, do not put a toad in a coffee can and leave it on your front porch in the summer. No. I was only 6, so cut me some slack. Did not realize he would bake in that coffee can. We had lots of hamsters. The first 2 hamsters that we had were Hector and Ferdinand. Same house as the toad, same sump pump. Again, I was 3 or 4 at the time. Jeff and Robin were older, and they were supposed to give the hamsters water, and they didn't, and they somehow got out of their cage and fell into the sump pump and drowned. We had a lot of different hamsters over the years. Melanie was very hard on hamsters. Melanie hates when I tell stories about her, so I'm going to try and make sure I tell lots of stories about Melanie. She was very, very hard on small animals. She had a lot of different hamsters. Some of them got lost out in the backyard when she was chasing a certain little boy around the backyard. Some of them she took up to the park with her and forgot about it, and it wandered off, and we never found it. One got out of its cage and into the wall in the basement. I don't know that they ever found that one either. So she went through quite a few hamsters. I think she had a salamander once too, pet salamander, that got out, and we found its dried up carcass like a year later. We had a pet rat named Ebenezer Peabody Scrooge. I know you think pet rat. I thought he was awesome. He was smart. He would get out of his cage at night. It would still be locked. We never did figure out how he got out, but he'd get out of his cage and he'd go down the hallway and he'd eat Dad's shoes. He would chew on Dad's work shoes. And the next morning he would be back in his kennel. Not his kennel, his crate. He had a big cage, a wire cage. He got the middle name Peabody for a reason. I'm going to let you guess what that reason was. Just look at the word and you'll figure it out. But he was very, very smart. He was very, very friendly. He'd sit on your arm and he'd wrap his long tail. This is going to gross some of you out. He'd wrap his long tail around your arm and just sit there. Dad eventually got mad enough about his shoes that he made us give Ebenezer away. And his shoes were never chewed on again, so I'm pretty sure Ebenezer was the culprit. Let's see, what else kind of animal? We had horses. That was when I was grown up. When Dan moved me to Wyoming, I said, I'm only going if you get me a horse. So we had horses when we lived in Wyoming. And then when we moved back, we got horses for Amy and I. What else have we had? Melanie liked toads, but she and her cousin Lori, our cousin Lori, tried to create a superior breed of toad out at the ranch. So they put them through a lot of scientific testing to weed out only, the weak and keep only the strong, so that the ranch would have a superior breed of toads. I called it torture. They were young. We'll cut them some slack, but I wouldn't have wanted to be a toad out at the ranch at that time. What else did we have? Ben and Kate have had pet rats. They currently have a bird. They've had fish. They've got 2 dogs and a cow. Okay, technically Millie is a dog, but she's as large as a small calf, so I call her a cow. And she's black and white, so no pet spiders. Abby and her boyfriend at one time had a snake, a corn snake, as a pet. My older sister Robin, they have, not even sure what they have anymore, but they have had a bearded dragon as a pet, among other little critters. I had a guinea pig. We've had a couple guinea pigs. I had a guinea pig named Daiquiri, and she did not live very long. And Ben and Kate currently have a guinea pig. So we have had quite the menagerie of animals in our family. And the reason I'm asking this question is I'm reading a book right now that the female character has a pet pig. Always wanted one. I haven't had one yet. She has a pet pig. She has they're calling it a Native American dog, which apparently is a breed, according to the book. Now, it is a book, so it could be completely made up. And she also has a bird, parrot, I think, a mouthy parrot, and then a cat. which got me thinking about all the different animals that we have had over the years. And so I thought I would ask you if you had any interesting pets or animals over the years. So that's your question for the day. I'm going to let you go. I'm going to get back to work, and I will see you tomorrow at some point. So take care until then. Get lots of stitching done. I did stitch last night. Well, I stitched Saturday night, and we had the Zoom thing. And I stitched Saturday night. What did I stitch on? Oh, I dug out Golden Ice from Custom Crafts, the horse picture I've been working on for years. And I usually dig it out and take it to retreat. Well, we didn't have retreat, so I decided I would dig it out and work on that for a while. However, the spot that I had left off in was a lot of one stitch here, one stitch there, one stitch here, and trying to figure out what I had stitched and what I hadn't stitched took me most of the evening. So I didn't get very far on Saturday night. So I worked on a little bit Sunday afternoon while I was waiting for dinner to finish, just a few minutes, and I did get that little area done. And then I worked on a Quaker Welcome Sunday night after dinner. That was my weekend, was after dinner. And then I worked on it again last night, the horse I worked on last night. So I may finish working, I may work on it, finish out the week working on the horse, and then put it away again. It's not going to be done by then, but I'll be further than I was, and that's a good thing. So okay, so get some stitching done this evening. The Genetic Detective is on tonight. I watched an old show last night on YouTube called Rosemary and Thyme. I don't know how old it is. I just know it's an older show. I think it was a British show about these two ladies that are, well, one's I think a botanist and the other one just likes gardening, and they solve crimes. I think it's enjoyable. So you could check that out if you're looking for something to watch and haven't watched that. But Genetic Detective is on this evening, so I will definitely watch that. Otherwise, for the third time, I'm going to let you go and get to work. I'll see you tomorrow. You take care until then. Bye-bye.